As in for the second question, we're going to talk about this. So, since the 1960s and 1970s, a substantial rise in crime was shown as black and public media imagery of the time, which resulted in a criminal justice response largely concentrated in low income communities of color. Today, those biases and the perception of criminality persist. White survey respondents overestimate the proportion of crime committed by African Americans by 20 to 30% and suggest harsher punishments when a crime is perceived to be a black crime. Some criminal justice policies and practices that appear race neutral have predictable racial effects that were rarely discussed when they were adopted. Differential treatment for cocaine and crack offenses, enhanced penalties for crimes committed in a school zone, which cover large proportions of space in densely populated urban areas, and having a prior criminal record, which is 3 strikes. That's what the law says. They all have disparate effects on community of color. So they suggested that these racial effects may have been unintentional, but future policies future policies should be more proactive in preventing them. He also pointed to the significant racial differences in prosecutors' decisions on charging and plea negotiations and the need for more sophisticated data on this topic. So they gave an example of criminal justice system reforms in California that resulted in dramatic deincarnation and narrowing of racial disparities. For many years, California's prison population was 200% of its rated capacity, leading to legislation that forced the state to quickly reduce the overcrowding. So this requirement promoted 2 reforms. One of them was the corrections realignment in 2011, which eliminated sending people who commit technical violations of their parole back to prison. The other was Proposition number 47 in 2014, which reclassified property and drug felonies to straight misdemeanors with no prison sentences. So since 2009, the number of people incarcerated has been reduced by about 1/4, with the largest declines among people with a high school diploma or less. Jail populations, arrests, and for lower level offenses and re-imprisonments for habitual offending also declined. Just as the growth of incarceration disparately affected black males in California, so too did the reforms, explained them.